If a slump happens and you choose not to acknowledge it, did it really happen at all? Hey guys, I'm Tara Wellman, this is Birdseeds, and I really don't want to talk about this week, okay? But I suppose I should probably at least acknowledge it. So here's a quick recap. The Cardinals, who have exceeded all realistic expectations for the injury-riddled 2015 season thus far, finally hit the slump. The one we all assumed was coming at some point. It's weird though, because even though I was bracing for it, the last 2 weeks felt way worse than I'd prepared myself for. 4-9 through the first 2 weeks of September is not exactly how I would have drawn up the stretch run, especially when the closest competition to the Cardinals is playing like the division is still within reach, which now it is. It's funny, and I say funny because, the whole if you don't laugh you'll cry thing. The team with the best record in baseball, and yes, the Cardinals do still have that claim for now, are also in the tightest division race in all of baseball. I mean, the Royals lost, 7 of 10 and still had like a 10-game lead in their division. Must be nice. Whatever. The superhuman starting rotation was bound to hit a speed bump or two somewhere along the way. Just would have liked for it not to be everyone all at the same time. But fingers crossed, they got that out of their system now, and we can all move forward with our lives. Of course, when you eliminate the pitching strength of this team, it magnifies the offensive struggles that we've seen all summer. With Matt Adams back, and if he hits home runs all the time, he doesn't even have to run, and Holiday close, whatever that means, there may be some additional offense on the way. As long as they're actually physically capable of doing their jobs, like running and throwing. What if they could combine players like Grichuk, Holiday, and Adams all combined into one? Then you might actually have a chance of one mostly healthy power hitter. Honestly, though, this is what we've been building towards. These guys, Adams, Holiday, Grichuk, even Adam Wainwright is hanging out still saying he thinks he's going to make a comeback. This is what we've been hoping for months now. In some cases, it was completely unrealistic until it wasn't. See Matt Adams. But I am a little concerned that getting these guys back might almost be more harmful than it is helpful if they are not 100% physically capable of doing every part of their job. They can't just hit. There's no DH in the NL. They can't play center field if they can't throw the ball, Mike. So I am just slightly nervous that when these guys are back in the game and in the flow of being in a lineup day in and day out, their limits are going to make it harder for the Cardinals to come out on top as opposed to making it easier, which is what you would like to believe. Maybe that's completely unfounded, and maybe Mike Matheny will use them all perfectly, and maybe they're all actually 100% physically capable of doing their jobs. I just haven't seen enough to believe that that's really going to be the case yet, but I would love for them all to prove me wrong. Last week's cast question was basically saying, does Adam Wainwright deserve a spot on the postseason roster if he's healthy? Interestingly enough, the first part of the week, most of you all said, it's too big of a risk, we don't really know what we're going to get from him, the staff has been good as it is, there's not really a spot for him, just let him get healthy and we'll see him next year. But the end result was that 55% of you said, yeah, it's Adam Wainwright. Of course we want him on the postseason roster. Which was so fascinating to me because it's not really what I expected. I expected a lot of people to say, it's Adam Wainwright, sure, but we don't really know what we're going to get from him. Plus, this staff has been pretty solid as it is. Although I guess the last 2 weeks, with the way the pitching has gone, it might change some things, change some opinions. So I'm still not sure that I'm totally sold on Adam Wainwright on the postseason roster. I guess just because we haven't seen him at all. Same with these other guys, that if he's absolutely healthy and in peak form, which is I mean, that's hard to do when you haven't played all year, then of course I want Adam Wainwright on the postseason roster. But right now, as it stands today, even if he is in fact healthy, as in, his Achilles isn't going to snap in two, I don't know. I'm not sold, and I feel terrible about it because I am such an Adam Wainwright fan. I just don't, I can't right now. Sorry, Adam. The last couple weeks notwithstanding, this is a big stretch for the Cardinals as they march toward the end of the year, trying to hold on to what is now a very slim division lead. So here's my biggest suggestion. You ready? Play better baseball. It's simple, really. And don't worry, Cardinal Nation is here to help. This week on Twitter, I asked you all for your biggest baseball superstitions. It's only crazy if it doesn't work, right? I mean, who's to say me sitting in the same spot with the same shirt on and the same food in front of me doesn't help the Cardinals win? Am I right? Sure, it sounds silly when you say it out loud, but we all do it. And here's the proof. Your baseball superstitions range from completely absurd to pretty normal and pretty routine, and sometimes it's that routine that does the trick. Just like Jason says, you gotta put things on in order, people. Right sock, right shoe, left sock, left shoe. Same with your pant legs. Get it right, people. Then there are some that are based on storylines throughout the season, like Bob, who says, donut avatar, duh. Go back to the 2011 season, the whole donuts in the clubhouse thing. To be honest, now that I think about it, I don't even really remember how that started. I just remember that it was a thing, and it worked. But he also says, change your avatars when they're winning, and praise a player's success just to have them fail. Like reverse psychology thing, I've actually done that as well. Also just change the avatar, because, I mean, might as well give it a shot, right? And then there are some playoff-specific superstitions. Chris says, wear the same jersey and watch playoff games in the same spot until a game is lost, and then switch. Make sure you switch it up. Don't forget that part, because if it's not working, well, then you just look crazy. And then Cole says, I pop and spray sparkling grape juice like it's champagne after every postseason series win. I'm not sure that's as much a superstition as it is a tradition, but it's cool. And besides, like, I hope everything doesn't end up really sticky, because now that's all I can think about. But hey, way to celebrate. High five to that. Don't think I'm any different, whether it's lucky high socks or a certain jersey or even my social media habits. Take 2011, for example, because I remember very distinctly I was sitting at home during Game 6, tweeting up a storm during the game like I always do, but then I'd get too nervous to tweet, and the Cardinals would do something good. So I tweeted my excitement, and then they'd do all the bad things. So check this out. My last tweet was to Mark Mulder when Freeze tied up the game the first time, and check the timestamp on that tweet. Now, my next tweet didn't come till 9:41, because at that point, I had realized clearly this was a me problem, and I needed to stop tweeting altogether, or the Cardinals were not going to win that game. So I finally tweeted again after, and the Cardinals had won the game. So, you're welcome. I clearly won Game 6 for you. And then in 2013, I had these Cardinals earrings that I wore all the time, and inevitably, when I remembered to wear them, the Cardinals won. So I decided I was going to wear them throughout the Cardinals postseason, especially since I was traveling for work that year and I was not going to be able to sit and watch all the games. I was going to balance that out by, of course, wearing the lucky earrings. Now, the lucky earrings did their thing for the most part, to the point where I legitimately panicked one day because I left my house without them on a game day. It's so silly thinking about it now, but then the Cardinals, didn't win the World Series. If you want to know what happened to those earrings, I have not worn them since. The things we do for our teams. If you didn't chime in, feel free to use the comment section below and tell me, what is the craziest thing you have ever done to sway the forces of the cosmos in your team's favor? And if it worked, don't be afraid to try it again, just soon. Have a great week, everybody. I'm looking at you, Cardinals. See you next time on Birdseeds.